Reason I built a streaming studio, and like the main one is so I can give Ann Wagner a live mic.
Woo!
Congresswoman, thank you for the time.
I am pleased to be here. I just left the House caucus, and we've got a reception this evening, a bunch of meetings, and we're going to file for office tomorrow morning.
So it was funny. I tweeted about having you on, and someone said, "Really?" And I'm like, "Oh, you don't know the Congresswoman." So this is going to be outstanding. Let's just jump right in. So you're here in town to file tomorrow, right?
Yep, you betcha.
So you, Sam Graves, Jason Smith, I guess Burleson will file again. I assume Congressman Cleaver's filing also.
Yes, I believe so. And there may be several people filing, I think, in the first congressional district. We'll see. I know of at least two. So that's just to the east of my Missouri 2nd district. So,
you know, I've met Cori Bush. She seems like a charming person to meet, but I mean, some of those views don't put the state in a very good light.
They really don't. And, you know, when you can't even agree on our common defense and national security.
Well, the terrorism is bad.
It's you know, and when she called Israel an apartheid state, that was it for me. I generally, you know, try to have my spokesperson, you know, comment on her, but I took the gloves off on that one. And, you know, we have a big defense industrial base in the greater St. Louis metropolitan area. It stretches out to St. Charles. I represent Franklin County, some of Warren, St. Charles, and obviously a big chunk of St. Louis County. A big defense industrial base, of which she supports none. And I will tell you, on issues that were key to Missouri, we always, as a delegation of 8, Democrats and Republicans, came together to get things done. I don't care whether it was fighting for F-18s at the Boeing plant or a zoo grant. You know, we pulled together when it came to our collective communities, but we just don't have that.
I'm very fortunate. You know, a lot of we probably have as many Democrat viewers as we do Republican, and I, you know, I talked about Cori Bush before, and they said, well, you're a little hard there, or are you sexist? And I'm like, well, you know what? The thing is, Emanuel Cleaver, it's not partisan, because Emanuel Cleaver, you have a lot of different views. I have some different views than Emanuel Cleaver, but I don't. But I understand where he's coming from. There's a logic base. There's a sense of Midwestern values that Emanuel Cleaver has. That while different views and manifest different ways, I understand. Some of the things the Congresswoman does, I don't even understand. I don't get where you even come from.
I don't either. And she's under, I know, both an ethics and DOJ investigation, so which we're not commenting on, but we'll see where that leads. But she's also going to have a tough primary opponent, I think, this time around. I really do.
Wesley Bell, somebody said, can he win? I said, well, I'll tell you what. I would say at filing, he has a better chance to win this than I would have thought he had against Bob McCullough.
I would tend to agree with you.
I mean, the guy's he's a serious guy. Yeah. There was some people I thought where I saw racist undertones or just uninformed opinions, they would compare Wesley Bell and Kim Gardner. The St. Louis County Prosecutor's Office is ran a little differently than, say, the Warren County Prosecutor's Office. That's true. Mm-hmm. But it is not an ineffective office. It's not falling apart. And Kim's didn't do well, where Wesley had very good success with it.
Well, and I will tell you that, you know, replacing and removing Kim Gardner was one of the greatest things that we could have done for the St. Louis metro area and beyond, because that crime, you know, doesn't just stay in the city of St. Louis. It moves out all the way out into, you know.
I think Andrew Bailey, frankly, in a year and a half in office, is probably his top achievement.
I couldn't agree more. And he never wavered one single bit.
And it was a little bit, what he did was a little bit innovative, let's say.
It was. And but he drew that line in the sand. I'm as proud of Andrew Bailey as I possibly could be. And what that means in terms of justice to all of those families that lost loved ones and were victims of crime, what it means to businesses and being able to get conventions back and economic development and growth. He did a great job, and it's a gift that keeps giving.
Like I said, you don't hesitate to tell it like it is. Tell, as we'd say, air out the kite and the cabbage. You gave a little piece of your mind to Secretary Yellen, correct?
Oh, I most certainly did. Yes, I think they played clips of that back to back, hour to hour, all day and evening long. You know, I sit on the Financial Services Committee, and I chair the Capital Markets Committee, which is I think the heart and soul. Capital formation is who we are as a capitalist society, and have been very successful in a lot of legislation. I've moved already 19 bills. I've got another 23 bills that I will move that push back against these government regulators, get them off our back and out of our way, and help people grow business, grow their investments, help those that are saving for the future be able to do so. We have the Treasury Secretary, and she's required twice a year to appear before Congress. And we had gotten some intel from some of the banking community that the Treasury was asking for bank records that were very specific to key buzzwords. They wanted to know if you were buying information, if you're buying guns at Bass Pro, if you were buying Bibles from a religious store.
Oh.
And when I pressed her on this, she 3 times she flubbed it, said, well, I received your letter. We're investigating, we're reviewing. I gave her 3 strikes at that ball. And I'm going to tell you what, she flubbed every single one of them. And as far as I'm concerned, that means the duck is quacking, and and therefore we got a problem. So we are having a big continuation of review of that. Can you imagine going into your personal banking records and wanting to know whether you're buying religious material or guns or anything? There are other buzz keywords that they were looking for too. It's egregious. It's outrageous.
I got to take a moment and thank someone. Carolyn McDowell, the Republican queen of Cole County,
amen.
brought me this. I spoke at the Lincoln Day last week. We had a good chat. I know Stein of Knowledge because Carolyn's got me a decanter of knowledge. So I got a big fan of yours. Sheriff Marshad gave me this official yet there. Tell me this. You mentioned financial services. What a just a punishing loss it is to lose Congressman Blaine Luetkemeyer. He retired.
Oh.
I mean, for common sense, for Missouri, for the entire country in financial services. If you want to find somebody who's got a beef with China, sit by him. He'll tell you.
Oh, man. And ad nauseum and with real passion about the 2 things I've ever seen Blaine get really passionate about. The number one and first is his grandchildren. Okay. Yep. Loves them the most. And I think it's one of the reasons that he's retiring. But the other has to do with Red China and the communist threat that we have from China. He's very passionate. We are going to miss him big time.
Now, he dared me to call you Annie Lou, and I just told him I'm just not tough enough. They grew him tougher in St. Elizabeth than they do in West Butler County.
Oh, that's so funny. Yes, I told him one time we were talking about names and grandkids and the whole bit, and he said, "What's your middle name?" And I said, "It's Louise, Ann Louise." And he said, "What'd your daddy used to call you?" And I said, "Annie Lou."
All right. So Carol from out in St. Louis County, I assume probably one of your constituents, she sent me this excellent, just treasure trove of buttons. Carol, you wrote me a note, said I wouldn't show them on here. You didn't know me. Senator Harriet Woods from back in the day. Paul Barra for comptroller. How about that name?
Wow.
And then Vince Shamel running the primary for governor.
There you go.
Carol, we're going to go through all these at different times. Thank you for sending these to me. If you ever come to Jeff City, come by. We'll show you where we hang them up on a UFCW scarf there, you'll notice. But come by anytime. We'll love to show the full collection. Carol, thank you very much for sending these to me. I really appreciate it. Someone that's not a Democrat that you endorsed was Donald Trump.
Yes.
Now, you are not a person that throws out endorsements for no reason. You and I have to say, I watched your comments. I know you. It looked like Joe Biden just pissed you off enough.
I've had it. Absolutely had it. Joe Biden in a little over 3 years is on the direct path to systematically destroying the country that I love and that we all love so much. And it's on multiple levels. I mean, look at what he's done. And it's not just the inflation and the Bidenomics, and he seems to take that as a badge of honor. And I sure wouldn't if I were him.
If you bought groceries, they'd give you the red ass.
I'm gonna tell you what. Since he took office, it is costing American families an extra $1,000 a month to make ends meet and to pay for the same goods and services and before he was president of the United States. So I don't care what's happened with the stock market. Inflation and GDP, they go up and down. But you know what? And the interest rates too, they're high. It's tough if you're trying to buy gas or groceries or a new home, whatever it is. you are paying more for everything since he took over. So that infuriates me. What he's done in terms of the border, which is absolutely nothing. He would just follow the Immigration and Nationalization Act, the INA, he would be able to secure our border. He won't even enforce the laws that we have on the books, let alone go back to the Trump policies of remain in Mexico, making the agreement with the triangle in Central America that if you want asylum, you do it over there, you apply, and we'll let you know if you're going to make it, and you can come across the border and do so. So Title 42, I could go on and on. If he would reinstate the Trump policies, we wouldn't have 100,000 Americans dead from fentanyl in the last year. Think about that.
I'll be honest with you. I was kind of tired of listening to Trump whine about the election. I was like, look, you lost the election, man. I thought he ran better than he probably had any right to, but he lost. And he just whined and whined and whined. And I was coming to the end, and I'm as white trash as they come. I'm your Trump person, right? Stillman and I were one of the first people that said, I think the guy can win. But I was just kind of tired. I don't like whining. Then he come out, and they started arresting him every 3 days for seems like bullshit. I'm sorry. It's hard for me to think. The guy's 70 years old. He's been in New York business for 50 years. All of a sudden now, he's broken all these laws.
Yep.
I think those guys at the Capitol that broke in your office are clowns, and they ought to go to jail. You oughtn't do that. But I don't know that anybody says Donald Trump told them to. All these little things. Look, I think Donald Trump's a jackass. But it kind of is like, you know what? That just strikes me as bullshit.
Now, I'm going to tell you what. It is a weaponizing of the Department of Justice and, frankly, our court system. And
he didn't prosecute Hillary Clinton.
No.
I don't know that he could have convicted. I have no idea. I break more laws than I even know about. But I'll tell you this. It feels like in my gut they could have charged her if they'd wanted to. And somebody cared about this country enough to do the right, which I think was the right thing not to. They didn't charge her. That's not how we do politics. It's not Nicaragua.
That's
right. But by God, the guy that comes off as the biggest statesman, Joe Biden, sure as hell's running like Nicaragua.
I will tell you, it is in there. They think that they're going to bleed him dry and take up all of his time.
They are.
But I'm telling you what, though, every time they go after him in court, his poll numbers rise, and the American people wake up. Whether I said,
let me ask you a question. You know these folks. Only Washington I go to has more courts landing on it. Do you think they knew all these things? Do you think they knew arresting him would make regular folks be like, no, damn it, wait a minute? And do you think they know they can beat him and that's why they did it?
No, I don't think they have any clue. That's overthinking.
Do you think that's really? You think that's just?
I think that's just who they are, and in fact, I think they're doing it with impunity. And I mean, I feel bad for the man because I do believe that a lot of these things were absolutely unjustified. And at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. But all I know is we cannot have 4 more years of Joe Biden. Joe Biden can't have 4 more years of Joe Biden. All right. And I don't care whether it's the border and immigration. I don't care whether it's, of what he's done to our energy. It's not, home heating oil, gas. He just stopped exports of LNG last week. Now, not only are we talking about our own energy independence, we could be exporting this to Europe instead of them getting it from Russia. And this could be a major, domestic economic boon for us. And he has shut down the permitting, shut down the fracking, shut down now the exports. I can't, for the life of me, I cannot. He's pandering to the Green New Deal crowd, and so I don't care whether it's energy, I don't care whether it's immigration, I don't care whether it's a government spying on your bank accounts and the economy. I could go on and on and on, and the world's on fire. So it's tough. They don't see a strong leader. Our allies don't trust us, and our enemies don't fear us.
You're up there. You've been around him. I don't know Joe Biden at all. Never even met him. But do you think, from being up there, is he? I hate to say it, sounds disrespectful, but is he lucid enough to do that job?
Well, I'll say this. I don't think it has anything to do with age, because I know 80 to 90-year-olds that are sharp as a tack. But no, his mental acuity is not there, and they are insulating him in a way and trying to script him in a way that seems to backfire every single time. I mean, I feel, I'd like to feel sorry for the man, and I do it to a certain extent, but this is This is our commander in chief. This is the president of the United States, the leader of the free world. And as I said, I've just had enough. And you saw how damn mad I was a few weeks ago when I was talking to you. I had it on every level with Joe Biden. We cannot have 4 more years of him. Donald Trump is our presumptive nominee. Look what happened in South Carolina just the other night. So
he just is, right? I mean, Donald Trump
just
won the primary. He was all like I had some regard for folks that says, all right, you got to go earn it. Fair enough. They've done 3-4 states now, but let's be honest. I mean, whatever you think of him personally, Donald Trump's going to be the Republican nominee for president of the United States.
He is. And we've got our caucuses next Saturday on March 2nd, 10 a.m. Make sure all
You've
Missourians.
done this for years. What do you think? Should they have a primary?
Well, I'm a little irritated, to be perfectly honest, because
the caucus thing seems squirrely to me.
I like presidential primaries, and I'm going to tell you why. I feel like the caucuses disenfranchise people. For instance, if you have a caucus, our veterans, our service members, they don't get to vote. A lot of the elderly can't make it out.
Normal people don't even know when it is, and they don't want time to.
It's a Saturday in March. I mean, normal people and families, if they're with their kids playing basketball or
trout season starts.
Trout season. My husband's now a conservation commissioner. I got Scott. You want to hear a first for me?
You used to think you had power. They have power.
Let me tell you what. I spent Saturday afternoon. I actually went to see a 2-headed snake at Powder Valley Conservation. Can you believe that?
Which member of Congress did you go visit?
It was right there in St. Louis County. My husband drug me. It was either that or the RV show. So I chose the 2-headed snake. I did bring a couple of the grandkids with me, so that made it a little more palatable. But
I'm going to tell you right now, there is nobody that has more stroke than Conservation Commissioner. There's a brown sign. You have some authority, and that's cute. But if there's a brown sign, he's the one that's got the stroke now.
Yeah. He's loving it. He's loving it. Yeah, he used to say he's Mr. Ann Wagner, but I'm going to tell you what.
Not in the conservation area.
Not in the Conservation Commission. Not at all. I was out in.
You had a whole big swath of Missouri where you're Mrs. Wagner.
I was at Wimpy's in Washington, Missouri, getting the greatest cheeseburger of my entire life. And there walked up 2 conservation commissioners, and they said, "You're Ray Wagner's wife, Ann Wagner, aren't you?" And I said, "Whoa. Yes, as a matter of fact, I am. It's been a decade or more since that's happened to me."
All right, so we got an empty seat here in Central Missouri. I guess it strings over to St. Louis. What do folks need to think about when they're picking a nominee for Congress?
Well, there's going to be a bunch of them. I'm gonna tell you that it's going to be a big, big primary. It's an open seat. Blaine's been in there for well longer than I have been, and he is a superstar on the Financial Services Committee. We're going to miss him greatly.
He's got common sense,
but he obviously a former banker in the banking committee. I mean, and he is a friend and mentor of mine. I mean, he was there and really ushered me along. I think they need to find somebody who's going to follow in those footsteps. Someone who's going to be that common sense,
Central Missouri
workhorse. Not show horse. We got enough of those.
He is from the smallest town of any member of Congress in this country.
Yes.
Yep, St. Elizabeth, 330, I think, last time I was there. Great little downtown spot to eat. I think it might be that in this race, the smaller town you're from in the district, the better.
Well, we're going to see, because there's going to be a whole boatload of them that are going to be filing.
You think so?
Come tomorrow morning. I think there's going to be a bunch of folks file. Oh, nah, I bet you get 6, 7, 8. I just paid my filing fee over at the Missouri Republican Party.
How many think actually put together a real campaign?
I don't know. I mean, it does take money to run. I will say that. It's any district is about 750,000.
When you get 2 media markets,
it is, and there are media markets that actually. He probably has 3, and they're not efficient. My St. Louis one, I touch 11 different congressional seats, believe it or not, and it goes up into Iowa and over to Illinois and down into. I mean, it's so it's going to be it's going to cost money. It's going to take a lot of time and effort. But you know what? These are not jobs; they're callings. And if you want to do the kind of work, whether it's across the street here at the state capitol where I just was, or whether it's in the halls of Congress. It's a commitment for you.
It does feel like you need some more real accomplishments that matter to real people.
I think so.
All the Facebook whining is totally fine. Not really, but I mean, that's great. But Missouri needs actual people that do real things. I
want a workhorse. I'm tired of the show horses. I really am. I want people that are going to get things done. When I talk about the Politico, and some of your listeners may like this, some of them may not. One of the Hill newspapers, rags, whatever you want to call them, they named me one of the top 10 most effective legislators in all of Congress. And you know what? I wear that as a badge of honor. That means I get things done. I find a way, when possible, by still holding on to my core conservative values that are very much
all the values you want if you don't get anything done, but prattle on Facebook, no one cares.
You got to get stuff done.
I got to give you something to get done.
Oh, what do I get? I got something fun.
How much rural broadband money have y'all put out? And there ain't no place that gets spent better up at United Fiber. They're doing such a good job up in the Great Northwest. They want to run the rural co-op into the city in St. Joseph. And if you're going to stay in town, you got to stay at the Courtyard by Marriott. I know it's booked all the time. Please text me anyway. I'll try to get you in. Randolph, if you're watching, you got to build another tower. You're either going to stop advertising me, which we don't want, or build another tower. Always full. Book it early if you're coming to town. Thank you so much for the time.
Hey, my pleasure. My pleasure.
We will see you. Jeff City's going to be packed with more common sense and know what to do with this week. Farm Bureau's legislative tours this week. I'll be out there interviewing Garrett for our annual trip out to their legislative day out at Farm Bureau. We will see you Sunday from Farm Bureau.